Well, we're having this meeting because we wanted to discuss the business that we started, the credit card processing business. And first of all, I would like to say that the credit card processing business is already a $3 trillion business. I just received a video the other day from someone that was in an MLM company, and they were talking about the wellness products that are being sold out there, and they said that, I think the guy's name was Zane Miller, I'm not sure, but he said that the wellness business would reach $1 trillion. That is, all the businesses that are doing wealth and wellness and health would reach $1 trillion. Well, we're already at $3 trillion, our business. So the amount of business that's out there is unbelievable. And we don't have to try to reach $1 trillion, we're already well over that. So with that said, I'd like to talk to the people today about how to get business. A lot of places, or a lot of businesses that you've been involved with in network marketing, they just cut people loose and say, here, go do it. We'll give you the breakdown on the product, and all you have to do is tell people about it. Our business is a little different in that there's a learning curve that you need to go through to really get good at it. And I want to talk about that right now because I want to be able to give you some information that will help you when you're out there, not recruiting people, but in selling the merchants that are out there. One thing you got to remember is that we're not selling something that they're not using. They are already using the product. It's not like having to go in and say, you need to take this for your health, and you get them to do something different. We're not doing that. We're talking to people that already are using what we have, and we're going in and saving them money. And we guarantee that we will save every merchant money, or we will pay them $500. And that guarantee goes beyond the first time that we meet the merchant. Because down the road, if this merchant gets a better rate from any other company, we will meet it or beat it, guaranteed, okay? Or we'll give them the $500. So that's a great incentive for people to even take a look at what we're doing, I think anyway. But this is what I've done in the past, and it worked for me. I've been able to build a really great residual from it, and you can too if you learn this and get it down so you know what you're saying, you know what to do when you go into a place of business. What I normally would do when I go into a business, and I'm going to start off about a little gimmick that we had when I first got in the business, or first really started doing the business seriously. It wasn't the one I'm going to talk about later, but it was called the small ticket. And Visa and MasterCard came out with a little thing they said to restaurants to speed up the restaurant so that the fast food business would get involved in taking credit cards. If you remember, the fast food industry did not take credit cards for a long time, but then they started doing it. And one of the things that Visa and MasterCard did to help that move it along was a small ticket. They came out with the small ticket was anytime you take a credit card, if it's $25 or under, you don't have to have the customer sign the receipt. So what they could do is they could just process the card and the customer was on their way. They didn't have to wait for it to print and sign it and all that. So it was a real blessing to the fast food industry because they want to get their people in and out of there because they got people standing in line trying to give them their card, then they're not getting the people out the way they want to. So this really changed the industry at that time. And I took advantage of that, and so did a lot of other people in the business. But I took it a little further, I think, than some of them, because I used that as my way to get in and talk to a merchant and try to get their business. I knew I could save them money. There was no doubt about that. Let me explain to you that you will be able to save these people money when you go in there, and you can back on it and you can count on it and you can go in with confidence. When you say you're going to save them money, you will save them money. So what happened when when Visa and MasterCard came out with the small ticket? I used that in this way. I would go into a restaurant and I would order a coffee or have breakfast or whatever. And when the waitress came over, I would say to the waitress, is the owner in? She would say, oh yeah, he's in the back, or he's not here right now. No matter what she said, I didn't want to see the owner right then. She would say, well, he's not here right now. I would say to her, what time does he normally get in? I mean, does he have a certain time in the morning or afternoon that he comes in to check everything out? And she would tell me. And then I would say, before she left, I would say, oh, and by the way, I forgot his name. What is it? She would tell me, George. So I would leave, go back later, another day or two, and go in, and I would sit down and I would order something, and the waitress was there, and I'd say to the waitress, hey, is George in? Now, she doesn't know whether I know George or not, but I used his name. So she would say, oh yeah, he's in, because I tried to go back at the time when he would normally be there. So I would say, is he in? And she would say, yes. I would say, would you go get him and tell him I'd like to talk to him? Now, she doesn't know whether I know George or not. I may be a friend of his. She doesn't know, but she'll go tell him. He will come out because he wants to talk to all of his customers. I'm a customer. So he comes out, I stand up, shake his hand. I say, hi, George. My name is John Daniels. I'm a good customer of yours. I come in here a lot. And I wanted to talk to you about your credit card processing. I don't think that you have small ticket. And he would say, at that time, he'd say, what's that? And I would say, well, I don't know whether you knew this or not, but Visa and MasterCard came out with what they call a small ticket. They reduced the rate a little bit on that, and also they don't require all your customers to sign a receipt. And I would say, I would like to, let you know about this, because it can save you money and it can save you time. And what I would like to do is, if I could get a copy of your statement, I could send it to my company and they will do an analysis of it, and they'll let us know whether or not you're getting that advantage or not, and you'll be able to set up to do that and save more money on your processing. Well, they give me all I wanted to do is get their statement, and that's all you want to do in this business. You don't want to go in and try to sell them right off the bat. Everybody makes that mistake, and I've had that same problem with the people that I brought in to this business over the years. They all want to get in there and get the load right now. So they go in and say, I can save you money, guarantee you $500. And they say, well, no, I've been told that by 1,000 companies. So, and they don't get a chance at it. The whole idea of this is to get in and just get the statement. If you get the statement on these, the chances of you getting the sale on this have increased 90%. I hardly ever lost a customer once I got their statement. Now, you also have to learn the learning curve that I talked about. You have to learn how to go back with that statement, sit down and go over it with the customer and explain everything to them. And the statement is going to do most of the work for you. That's the reason why you don't have to know all these stupid rates that Visa and MasterCard set out. But you do know how to, if you know how to do that statement and work it properly in the right way, it'll work for you. And it'll save you a lot of time and effort by using it. So when I would sit down with them after this, I would get their statement. Before I would leave the place, I'd have the statement in my hand. That's what you want. You want to get that statement. Now you're not through yet, because you want to continue on. If I haven't already told him all the advantages of doing business with my company, I'm now going to do it again. So if I've already said it before, I'm going to repeat it. I'm going to say, hey, Bill or George or whatever his name is, I'm going to say, hey, George, let me ask you a question. If I can do all that I'm saying, if my company will give you all these advantages that I've talked about, like we're going to give you a free terminal that you don't have to pay for, you don't have to lease it, you don't have to pay anything for it. The only thing we ask is if you leave that you return it, that's all. I'm going to give you a free terminal. I'm going to give you a no contract. You don't have to sign a contract with us. If you're unhappy with us for any reason, you can leave without any payment at all. Most of the companies out there will not do this, especially they won't do it if they're giving you equipment. So we're willing to do that. Even if we give you equipment, you call us up and say, I don't like this thing, we'll come and get our equipment. But here's what I'd like to have you do. I don't want you to make a commitment on this right now. And when I come back, I don't want you to make a commitment on it. I want you to do this. I want you to give us a try. That's all I'm asking. Just try us out and see if we can do what we say we're going to do. You will be able to see that we're saving you money. You'll be able to have our service, and we have the best service in the business. And I tell them about the service, that you won't be transferred to somebody in India or the Philippines or wherever. You'll be talking to an American that's got all your information right there and can help you with any problem you have. They can't do that with most companies because they farm it out to somebody overseas that doesn't have your records. So basically, we're going to do all these things for you. I tell them about the free gift cards. We don't charge you for the gift cards. We give you 50 free. You never pay for the processing of those gift cards. And every company out there will charge you $15, $20 a month, regular fee every month, and a 25-cent transaction fee every time you swipe the card. We don't. We give this to you free. So what I do is I reiterate all the advantages that we offer. Free gift cards, free gateway. We're the only ones that give a free gateway. So, and I tell them all these things before I leave. And I say, now, George, if I can do all these things and I can put this in writing for you, and I can prove to you that I can do this, because what I want you to do when I come back, I don't want you to say you want to do this without taking a shot at us. What I want to do is when I come back, I will unhook your terminal. I will hook our terminal back up to your system. You'll be ready to go. It'll start right then. Your other company is sitting there dormant. It's not gone. I don't want you to cancel it. I want you to keep it, but you're not being charged anything because that is not processing. We're doing the processing. And after you see what we can do for you, then if you don't like what we're doing, you call me. I'll come and pick my terminal back up. I'll hook your old terminal back up, and you don't miss a lick. And I wanted to let you know that before I come back, because I'm going to save you money, I guarantee it. $500 if I can. So now I say to him, George, can you think of any reason that we couldn't do business together? So if he's got any objections, they're going to come out, right? And you want to find that out before you go back. So he may say, well, I got to talk to my wife. Okay, that's good. Remember, I said we want you to try it. If your wife doesn't like it, she just calls us. How can he answer that? I want to talk to my partner. Well, remember, I said this is a trial. If your partner doesn't like it, all he has to do is call us. So what I've done is I've eliminated all these stupid things that he's going to come up with, and they always do. They always try to come up with something because nobody likes to make change. Now, before I go, I'm going to say to him, this trial that you're going to take, I want you to understand something, that this change, it's not a change. You're not going to experience any downtime. you're not even going to know that you're working with us and not your old company. So there's no hard thing to do in changing this over. You won't even notice it. And so then I leave and I come back with a statement. And when I sit down with a statement, I've got it broken down there. So this is the reason why you don't have to know a whole lot about rates, because it's already done for you on the statement. And all you do is you go with the volume. You show them the volume they're doing with Visa and MasterCard. You're showing them what they're paying with their old company, with Visa. You show them what they'll be paying with us. They'll have a monthly savings there at the end. We'll have that over there. It'll tell them how much they're saving on Visa cards, how much on MasterCard, how much on Discover, how much on all the cards that they take. They'll have a savings at the end of that. And then it comes down, we'll show them how much we're saving them a month, and we'll show them how much we save them in a year, and we'll show them how much they'll save in 3 years. So they're getting, they're having all this information. So what I do is I go through that with them. Now it's very important that you have their old statement laying there on the table. You have their statement, your proposal, your quote, and a contract. 3 things. The contract that they're going to sign. Okay, so we've got their statement, and we say to them, okay, Bill, George, or whatever their name is, this is what you're paying right now. Now you want to prove to them that they're paying it. You just can't say, well, your old company's charging you this. No. You go to their statement and you circle it. You say, look at this, George. This is what you're paying for this type of card right here. This is how much you're paying a month. Here's how much you'd be paying with us on that card. And here's how much you'd be paying a month. So that he knows exactly where that rate is coming from. And that's really important. He's got to know that. Because you can tell him anything, and you know you've had salesmen tell you all kinds of things, and you don't believe half of what they tell you. Well, you're proving to him what you're doing here. So after I show him this, and I finish up, and I go down each one of them, and I show him all the savings, and I get down, here's how much you'll save a month, here's how much you'll save a year, here's how much you'll save in 3 years, and I don't say another word. I say, George, I go to the app. I say, George, I have your business as George's Diner. Is that correct? Have I got that spelled right? Yeah. And I have the address as such and such. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Now, I've asked him questions where he says yes, yes, yes. Okay. Now, here comes the crux of the matter. I say to him, George, are you a partnership, a corporation, or an individual? Now he has to tell me something, right? He can't say yes or no. He says, I'm a corporation. I go, oh, great, corporation. And now I have got him to answer a question, and he's not answering yes anymore. He's giving me information. Now, if he continues on, I continue filling out the app. Now, he may say somewhere along the way, he may say, well, I didn't say I wanted this. Well, say, George, I know that. That's the reason why we're giving you the opportunity to try it. I mean, don't you want to try this to see if you can save money and to see if you get a better service? That's it. That's all you have to do. Now, and then I shut up after that. I don't say anymore. I don't continue to ask him any questions until I wait a long time before I start answering. Before I start asking any more questions, I just sit there and listen to him. I want to hear his objections. I want to hear what he has to say. What can he say? Well, he'll still come up with some silly thing, I guarantee you. But at least I'm finding this out now before I wasted a lot of time on it. And this really works, because once you do this, you will find that you will write almost all of them. I hardly ever miss one when I do this. Hardly ever miss it. Because he's sitting there, I'm saving him money. He told me before I came back that there wasn't any reason that we couldn't do business if everything I said was correct.
How has the Durbin Amendment changed our business?
Well, the Durbin Amendment, yeah, I need to explain that. Thank you, Rick. The Durbin Amendment, I used that. I started out saying about the small ticket, but I never did get, I don't think I really got to the Durbin Amendment, right? Okay, the Durbin Amendment, Senator Durbin, I ask everyone when I go in now, instead of small ticket, I ask them, have you heard of the Durbin Amendment? So that some of them will say, yes, I've heard of it. Others will say, no, I haven't. It doesn't matter whether they say yes or no, because your next words are, as you probably know then, if you've heard about it, say, that's how you get into it. As you probably know then, if you've heard about the Durbin Amendment, that Senator Durbin from Illinois went to Congress and had them pass a bill that made Visa and MasterCard lower their rates. And this is the first time in history that Visa and MasterCard had to lower their rates. Now, they didn't lower the rates to you, the merchant. They lowered the rates to the processing company, our company and other companies that do the processing. So you may be getting that refund or that savings, and you may not. Some companies are giving it all back. Some companies are giving a portion of it so they can say they're giving it to you when you call them, but they're not. And some companies aren't giving it to you at all. So all I want to do is get your statement, and I can show you. I'll send it into the company. They'll do an analysis of it because it has to be done by the company. They will do a complete analysis of it, and they can tell you whether or not you're saving that money or not. Because you need to know this so that you can save money also. And no one likes to pay for something they don't have to. So that's the thing that you need to do. And so you say, you may be paying more than you should. That's what I leave them with, that little phrase, and learn that. You may be paying more than you should. Well, nobody likes to pay more than they should, right? I don't know of anybody that does. When you pay more than someone else, you get upset, right? So I want to get this guy upset. I want to say, you may be paying more than you should. And he may not do any business with me at that time, but then I'm gonna leave, and I'm gonna come back again. And I'm gonna keep coming back until I get him, until he gets tired of seeing my face and says, I don't want to talk to you anymore. That's the way you got to do this. You got to stay on them like glue, and you keep going in there and talking to them. And now after a while, they get to know you. They're familiar with you. They get to know you. They get to trust you a little bit because you've been real faithful coming back and talking to them. I've gone in there 10, 20 times to the people. I even used to go into stores that I never bought anything from and wasn't even a customer. And I'd walk in and start talking to them, and I would talk to them about their business. I would say something like this, hey, how have you been doing since the hard times that we went through in 2008? Has your business picked up, or is it less, or what are you feeling? I mean, what's happening with your business? And I'm not threatening at all. I'm just trying to find out about what he's doing. I just walked into his store, and I'm doing this. And I say, the reason why I came in here is I've been coming by your place of business a long time, and I never knew what you sold. And I wanted to come in and see if I might be able to find something that I could use of your business, because I like to deal with local people. Get that? I like to deal with local people. And he says, yeah, I do too. Good, I'm local. So now, when I go back, I might not even say anything to him at that time. I may say at that time, have you heard of the Durbin Amendment? But I may not. I may say, I want to play this out a little longer, so I'll go back a couple of times. I may even go back and buy something that I need from him. And then I go in. Now, when I buy something from him, now I'm going to hit him with it. I'm going to say, by the way, Bill, have you heard of the Durbin Amendment? He'll go, well, yeah, I have. Well, as you probably know, see, it doesn't matter whether he says yes or no. If he says no, you say, well, Senator Durbin, you tell him the story. Senator Durbin from Illinois went to Congress and got a bill passed that made Visa, MasterCard lower their rates. You tell him that story. And then you say, you know, you may be paying more than you should. What I'd like to do, I'm a customer of yours and I'd like to help you out because you're local and I'm local. I'd like to get a copy of your statement. I can send it to my company. They'll do an analysis of it and they'll come back and I can tell you if your company's paying you that money or not. You should get it. You know, you may be paying more than you should.
John, thank you so much for this kind of training. We can't find it anywhere else.
Get me off of there.
You did a great job.
And that was being broadcast